Yeah, yeah. Hello, everyone. So, quick introduction. I'm Vijender. I've graduated from IIT Guwahati in 2004, and I worked for nearly 20 years in the IT space. I worked in a lot of companies, and I've done a lot of roles from being a developer to all the way till being a director of engineering and data science at HighRadius. And then I quit HighRadius recently, and I started Analysts Labs, right? So we do corporate training in AI for companies. Okay, so we've done recently for Inspire Brands, and also I do upskilling in AI for working professionals. Okay, so part of what I keep doing, right? I interact with a lot of interesting people along the way, and Sitaram is one of whom I had the fortunate. I've been fortunate enough to meet him, and so I thought, we'll have the session, which I feel is important because there are a lot of people who are thinking of data engineering, but they kind of plan for it without having complete idea about it, or they're not sure about whether they should do data engineering or something else. So that's when I thought this is relevant, this is important. Data engineering is according to me, one of the secure spaces to be in. Okay, in addition to AI engineer roles, and if you are interested in that side, I think you should get value out of the session. Okay, so I'll not take out more time. I'll pass it on to Sitaram, who is an eminent leader in data engineering. He's worked in companies like Microsoft and Salesforce, hardcore ninja skills in data engineering. So over to you, Sitaram. Thanks for joining in. Yeah.
While I start going through this deck, right? So you just present it. So I'll go through the notes.
You introduce yourself. I'll present it.
Hello all, thanks for joining and thank you Ganda for having me here. No, I'm not sharing. You can present the deck.
You turn on the video.
I just turned on the video, yeah.
Okay.
Say hello. I think I'm both audible and visible.
Yeah.
Hello all. Yeah. Thanks Vijender for having me here. In fact, I'm fortunate to meet with Vijender a couple of weeks ago. Great programs happening here in Analysts Lab. So as part of my introduction, right, my name is Sitaram. 17 to 18 years of experience. I'm a software engineer, predominantly into data engineering space. Starting with good old days, tool-based data engineering to this AI-enabled engineering. Fortunate enough to work with big techs. 7 to 8 plus years I was into consulting, and last 10 years I've been associated with product stacks like Microsoft, Citrix, and currently with Salesforce. So as part of today's session, right, I'll try to, I think the audience are mixed. We have freshers in the sense aspirants. A couple of people who are already into data engineering want to know the AI side of the current world and want to see how they can upgrade or they can switch tracks from the ongoing tracks to the AI or data engineering space. So I would like to cover the points that Vijender put on the screen, right? These are the points we will go through, touch base on each one of the points. Probably not in detail, but in brief. At the end, right, there is a fifth session, like the killer stuff. I'm going to present 4 of the use cases that I personally implemented and which are very happening. So in case if you happen to see them on your profiles, right, definitely the profile is not like prepared something of as an output from the LLM based some of the open source AI tools, but it gives a lot of weightage to that particular content. So that is going to be the agenda for today. Without further ado, I think we can start. Yeah, we put the slide on the screen, right? So these are the points we are going to cover. We'll start with the reality check. Then we will take a look at the stack, right? With data engineering remaining the same throughout the session, but so each slide, so each topic we will try to add the deep flavor to that. And then what is an AI ready engineer? We can call, and finally the roadmap for the people aspiring to enter this data engineering space. Also, they want to upgrade on the AI flavor to the engineering space. And finally, as I discussed, right, 4 of the use cases, if time permits, I'll take you through them one by one. So yeah, we'll start. Next slide, please. So this slide is for like our reference. Probably can take a look at it, but I will engage you with the stuff that is embedded behind the screens, right? Also, let's keep it as interactive as possible. You can stop me whenever you have a question, and we will have a dedicated Q&A section at the end of the session as well.
We can, and I think they can ask during the session as well.
Not
Right?
an-
So feel free to ask, guys. Yeah.
So this is all about the reality check. So I'm a data engineer. So if you ask me, right, what you do, I can name all the things that we are all aware of. I bring data from somewhere, I put it somewhere. So this end-to-end journey I do with my hands-on coding, right? Language can be anything, the processing platform can be anything, orchestration tool can be anything, but essentially this is what we do end-to-end data engineering. So it is tool-based or distributed computing and so forth without AI I'm talking about. So without not having the AI on screen, plain data engineering. So this, we call it as a traditional data engineering, fine, but is it enough? Are we going to place ourselves in a safer way going forward or not? So we will talk about that point by point, right? So as I mentioned, right, we write code. Cool. We bring data, we process it, we clean it, we do it all by ourselves. Fine. So let me talk about one of the scenarios we work on. So you are a data engineer, you started your work. So I ask you, or the requirement as an engineer for you is write some code, prepare an object, a table, right, which is of type 2, slowly changing dimension. We are not doing any education today, so it's like the real-time scenarios we have in as part of data engineering and how we handle them, right? So the requirement is simple. You need to prepare a type 2 dimension, and that is your task. Let's say you are taking this interview, so you have to prepare a type 2 table. How do you do? So this is a regular interview question or a regular day-to-day task for any engineer. So if you double click on this question, right, essentially you need to write the code. So many of the people on the call, we are able to understand, we know what a CD type 2 and we can orchestrate the code by ourselves. Fine. But now in 2022, right in the room, someone from the crowd who is a fresher, who has absolutely no knowledge about type 2, he also can generate the code. He can write the code. So if the same particular user story, if we consider for a sprint, right, at least half a sprint we need for understanding the requirements, preparing the code, doing the unit testing, etc., etc. But a person, one among the crowd now currently in this meeting group, right, provided they have the capabilities, AI capabilities to generate this code with the inputs given, maybe he will need some help, but finally by end of the day, one day, right, he would be able to write some good code, which is subject to some conditions or some testing going forward. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is, if you have this flow, you have this flavor in your resume, or you have this flavor in your mind, that I can prepare the table with the requirements, so definitely that is, you're not going to stand out. So that is the reality check now. So you are not going to stand out from the crowd, because out of 100, right, 99 people, they raise hands. Manual, I can do it. But there are some people, some fraction of the crowd, right? So they will take the other route. So probably I won't take much time for generation of the code. I might be interested in doing the stuff with the help of AI-driven inputs or AI-driven stack. So they try to add that flavor. So where are we adding that flavor? Adding that flavor to your day-to-day process, how is it going to change your profile? We will go through that in the upcoming slides. But for now, an extension to this reality check. Let me ask you. So we are all working on the data, which is like table. When I say you query data, so it's a table, right? So if I ask you a question, how many of you have written, or how many of you can interact with a table, fetch some records from a table? So I think everybody raise the hands, right? So there is a table in a database sitting in SQL, Oracle, I mean, any database, any flavor of the database, you can query the data. But if I ask you, I have a PDF which has some million number of pages, and you need to query that PDF. Can you do it?
Not directly.
Not directly, right?
Yeah.
But that is the need of the hour. That is the need of the hour. So your sources are changing from 20% of the so-called structured. So the input data is like columns and rows, dedicated data types, structured data. That is only just 20%, as when even if it will go down. but the requirement, the need of the hour, the AI based companies, the requirements like current market. So they are looking for this kind of. So the question is, if you are given in PDF, can you query? The query being the same, so you still use SQL, but your object, right? The object you are interacting changes. So definitely what happens is you are lagging behind. So you can write the query, select the table, all the where conditions, etc. But the processing part, right? You're totally gray to you. So this is where the advantage, bringing the LLM to the mainstream, that is being happened everywhere across the globe, all the companies, not the big techs, but all the companies. Even if you check with your fellow colleagues, right, who are working in consulting firms, so every consulting firm, they're letting the employees, right, upgrade. So at least the basics. They want to have their employees know aware of how can they interact with an LLM from their command prompt. How can they generate some input, output using some input, and which can help their day-to-day activities. So these are all some of the stuff that are happening as part of training. So if you want to double check yourself, am I ready for this revolution or ready for this kind of setup in the current markets? No, definitely you have to rethink, and you have to come strong to work on the unstructured data, right? Also, you will be able to, some question.
Sitaram, I have a question, a very basic question. Please forgive me for such a basic one. So you said, are you able to query from a PDF? And my answer in my mind was yes. If I'm looking for a string, maybe Control F. But if I have to make a meaningful query, maybe I cannot. So what is your answer? Maybe I missed in between. So your answer is
yes, sure.
Use an LLM.
When we're going forward, we will try to understand like how can we query a PDF, that too with the help of SQL. So how is it going to happen through the advantage of LLM and through advantage of the
help of SQL?
I'll go through it like
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Yes, and thanks for bringing this up. So it will keep the pace, momentum. Yeah, good to hear that question, by the way. So Chandrak simply put it. So PDF, how can I store? So that actually the requirement, and that is where the gravity of the current market, how to store it and how to retrieve the data. So two parts to it. So we'll go through it one by one. So concluding on this particular part, the reality check, right? Yes, we have to upgrade ourselves. We will be able to work on the unstructured data. We will be able to understand the applications that are built using the LLM and RAG. You don't need to be ML engineer. You don't need to be an AI engineer. But being a data engineer, right, you should be able to understand the nitty-gritties of that, so that you will incorporate, or you will have that inception in your mind, right, while working or while preparing your code, or you're making yourself ready with that. You can be a level 1 engineer, or like 5 to 10 years of experience, just slowly into solutioning, or even the architecture. So as per your role, right, you will need to like imbibe this AI flavor to your work, right?
Slide.
We can go to the next slide, so they can look at it. So can you talk about any of the use cases or that is currently available on LinkedIn or everywhere in the market? So I will try to tell about this one. So JP Morgan Chase, right? So Index GPT, you might be aware of this particular one. ChatGPT is something like user friendly and people can interact it, but it's ingrown by the JP Morgan. So what are they doing with this is, so the petabytes or terabytes of data, which is having all PDFs. So if you just Google after this session, right, Index GPT, what it is, it's like a white paper. You can have all the details about it, and what is the advantage of it, and how the LLM based application is interacted or is given to the data engineers, and what is the edge or the advantage that data engineers are witnessing currently in one of the organizations they implemented this Index GPT. So just for your information. So we can simply say, if I'm bringing data here and there, if I'm able to query only the structured data, definitely you are invisible in this AI revolution. You'll be there in the comfort zone. So I can do only this stuff, ETL tool-based stuff. I'm good. So you still remain there. The role still be there, but the competition with the AI flavored AI engineers, right? You can't stand there. Yeah. So now, yeah, you can take a left and right view of this slide. It simply says, right, so we have the batch, we have the streaming, regular warehousing topics like ER modeling, etc., etc. So how it is shaping with the help of AI, right? Yeah, can move to the next slide. Right. So you can take a look at this.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I ask something in the previous slide? What is the third point in the right side? Streaming freshness.
So streaming data, you are working. Let me give the example of a credit card fraud. You get it, right? So generally we know that near real time also won't work for some of the scenarios. It should be like immediate. So that is exactly streaming freshness. So you are streaming data, fine. You have the near real time with some latency, but zero latency pipelines. That is what it is talking about.
Got it.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm glad that I put some helpful container. Yeah. So near real time, we are all aware, right? So maybe eventual consistency with that 30 to 30 seconds maximum, but this is like 0 second. So as soon as some fraud is there, it should be able to detect and do the required stuff. Yeah, moving back onto the slide. Yeah. So here you can take a look at the different parts, points I put it. So I can say like acronyms we are hearing, listening about it, getting a lot of LinkedIn posts on it. So these are all what makes it. If you feel like if I have these things in my resume, or if I have these things with my hands on, so definitely it is going to be some edge. But what is this each of this particular box telling? So eventually I'll try to explain you one by one. Now let's try to understand or stick on to the next topic, the AI driven data engineering stack. So when I ask you about a stack, right, the aspirants or the people who are already doing data engineering, definitely you'll say a tool, a processing engine, an orchestration tool, right? So tool, when I say like Informatica, data stage, of course, they are not like totally, I cannot say like totally gone, but still in the market. Processing, you might use Spark, right? And coming onto the cloud, you may be using the Spark, using Azure Cloud or AWS, using Jupyter notebooks or Databricks notebooks. And coming to the orchestration, you may use Data Factory, you may use Airflow. So this is the stack, right? So is the stack going to change, or is this stack enough? We will try to address on these questions. Yes, this stack is ground zero. It is a very much needed stack. You need it. A processing engine, a cloud technology, and an orchestration tool. Every data engineer or every person, every software engineer who wants to pursue this career, right? They should be strong enough with any one of this. One particular cloud, one compute engine, and one orchestration tool. This is mandatory. Fine. Then what is the add-ons you have to make sure that on top of this stack, I have built this, or I have made my hands dirty, I learned this, so which is going to help you. We will talk about that now. You can move to the next slide. I think it's next one. Yeah, we can. Yeah. So on the left side and right side, the tabs are vertically. If you take a look at, they are similar. There is no change actually. So you are doing ingestion, you do the same processing, and you put the data till the server layer where the dashboards pick the data, and you do observability operations. So they don't change, but the kind of implementation, right, and the kind of time it is taking, and the kind of teams that are working on that change. So how is it going to change? We will discuss. We'll talk about that.
So Fivetran is from Fivetran. Is it from?
Separate product based.
Right. Should I go next slide?
Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Like, Hold on. Yeah. So now let's talk about this in detail. We might have built data warehouses, right? Operational data stores, data lakes, lake houses, everything. So even like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think I built the enterprise level data lake at Microsoft way back in 2017. So AI flavor or Copilot, it was not there at that time. So we did it, and we are doing it, building it, and a lot of companies are upgrading. right? The regular standalone or the regular the stereotyped warehouses to the operational data stores, or data marts and data lakes based on their requirements. Fine. Also in this journey, right, they are migrating to the cloud stack or the upgrading the tech stack. That is also fine. But talking about the new requirement, the new oil, data is oil, but the new oil is unstructured sources. So here is where there are two streams, essentially one stream, but I will try to convert into two streams. This particular thing you have to have in your profile. What is this thing? We are going to address Chandra's question now. So let's go back to the same use case, querying a PDF, right? Querying data and all, we are experts. We know how to ingest, transform, put it into a table, write a query, and fine. But so this type of source, a PDF is the source, that to millions of pages. A user who is non-technical, he needs to interact with the system. He needs to get the answer for that. So essentially, being a data engineer or data platform engineer, your task is to prepare this. So read the data, read the PDF, store it somewhere in a retrievable way. So in the world of AI, we call it as like, I embed the data, correct me if I'm wrong. And also I'll store these embeddings in a particular storage, not the relational databases, OLAP, OLTP and all, fine. Not the relational databases, not the NoSQL databases, columnar. It is something called vector database. So that the LLM based or RAG based applications, they understand that in an indexed way with low latency, they help the user fire a query and they get the input. What is the source here? What is the source you have ingested? In a PDF only. But back behind the screens, you are engineering, trying to embed the input data, trying to store that in the vector database so that your LLM application helps you to retrieve the data, first process the data and retrieve it. So these are the two streams I am talking about. So if you have these two flavors in your profile on the baseline ground zero stack of processing engine, cloud and orchestration tool, it is like a big weight for your profile, right?
So can you, I think for the benefit of people, I think we've been seeing, and it's my question as well. So traditionally back in my days, you used to have a typical data warehouse. That was what is there.
Yes.
Now you see a lot of new terminologies like, I think Databricks and all these, courses, people have come up with new stuff.
Yes.
So maybe you can just throw some light on what is the difference between a data lake versus a lake house versus a warehouse. I think it will help people.
Yeah. I thought like the crowd, like we have a combination of crowd, so people may confuse if yes. So we'll talk about that now. So essentially everything, right? Everything is a store which holds the objects. So user need to get the information from that system. We are building that system, being an engineer or the platform engineer. So the way it used to work is a warehouse wherein you have the star schema, snowflake-based schema with dimension tables, fact tables, having all the objects at one place. But the teams, n number of teams, they need to go there. They need to work, identify which are the sources, identifying the point of source for them, point of truth for them is a challenge. Then simply we will do what we will do. We will go with the concept of bringing all the base data somewhere, right? Which is essentially a lake. And whoever wants to transform on top of it, they use the transformations there, but still the source of truths being the same. That is data lake. Okay. Now data mart, even this one, what is this one? You have a data lake, fine. Inside your company, you might be having a marketing team, finance team, right?
Yeah.
Data, clouds, like I'm talking about the CRM based companies like us. So each team, they want to prepare their own dashboards, and that too for not lifelong time, like for a particular 3 months of, let's say we have a December fest in Salesforce, right? So wherein we try to talk about the agent force. Similarly, Microsoft launches some particular product. Similarly, data, Google, so any company. So they want to do analysis of a particular event or particular product for some amount of time. So they want to have a warehouse. It is still warehouse, but it is different than the traditional data warehouse and data lake. It is the data mart. So they can wrap it up for the application being, okay, I'll run this show for a month or two. Once the inputs are given, the insights are given, I'm done with that. I no more need that part. So I can go and work on the next requirement. So this is how this is there. It's a legacy thing. So not something new.
Okay.
We have it
Okay.
with different names and flavors, right? Data warehouses, we have lakes, lake houses. So also with the advent of this one, right? So the files, earlier we were having only CSV, right? File delimiter. Then we have the file formats with the advent of Hive. You just mentioned Parquet, right? So different formats, not just one, different formats. And then Hive is also, we are done. Map or Hadoop, we are done. What we wanted is distributed computing is fine. I want in-memory computing. Then we moved on to Spark, right? So the conclusion here is, if you say, I know the Spark architecture, I know how MapReduce works, fine. Many people are aware of it. But do you aware of a particular parameter, A, if it is used for a particular use case, it will increase it can make the pipeline scalable and highly resilient, enterprise level. So that is what you want to have in your profile, or you want to have in your career. So that particular parameterization, that particular experience or hands-on with that tool, not simply the architecture and all, but something which can drift the development time and reduce the desk to the production, the shipment time, the turnaround time. Yeah. Now, let's move on. There are a couple of points I want to touch base on it. Yeah, no, in the current slide. So this slide totally talks about the real time. Even we touch based on real time, near real time. So when we say Kafka, right, immediately that strikes in your mind is PubSub model immediately, right? Whoever is in data engineering or who have been working for preparing for interviews. So it is always good for you to have the design flavor behind the screens, not simply for the interview, but what exactly happens in a PubSub model. Is a particular pipeline completely real time? Can I say like my data is trustworthy? Are all the consumers of my Kafka endpoints are accurate, authentic? This is where in this slide we are talking about the observability part. So even during our cohort quiz also, observability, there is one term, right? So earlier we were talking about governance rules, data governance, data quality, sensitivity, GDPR. Also we used to use one particular term very lightly, that is data quality. But that particular word, data quality, is making a big difference currently. So when we say now in the current world, if you put this word data observability, you have worked on data observability pipelines, or you have handled that in your project, it means you handled all of this particular thing in a bunch. So you had taken care of the sensitivity of the data, quality of the data, and making sure your consumers who are consuming your data, like 100% of the data is trust. Source of truth is clean. Generally, we do hear this 10% of our data is clean. So what is the metric you are giving or offering to the people who are consuming your data? So this is where it makes real sense. So if you are able to address all of these things while you are implementing or doing your development, right? So it makes you a different, a standout person from the crowd, standing out engineer rather. Now, AI driven. So we are here, right? So generally AI, when we say what is the difference between ML engineer and AI engineer? Sitaram, you talked about embedding the data. You talked about vector DBs. Am I expected to write some applications for this? No. You are not going to write the applications for embeddings. You are not going to write the applications for retrieving the data. But you should be able to understand there is an application which is written on Hugging Face or a LangChain. You should be able to understand how it behaves so that you can have your data pipelines. You can define your data rules with that knowledge. So you are not going to do any of the stuff that an ML engineer or AI engineer or AI infra engineer is doing, but you are aware of what is happening behind the scenes so that you can be a part of that application, the application team. Currently, when I say application, it's not simply, it's a $1 billion application, if I want to call. Yeah, sorry. Hey, Naveen. Naveen, if you are on mute, if you're talking.
Yeah, so is like a coding knowledge that to extensive level is expected for this?
No. That's what I'm going to. So So you don't need to, no one is expecting you to write that code. No one is expecting to develop like end-to-end Hugging Face. Then the entire job description changes. It is for an ML engineer. So Vijayendra is the boss for that. No, you should be, you should be like aware of that. Embedding is this technique. So if I want to run a pipeline, if I want to write a pipeline, or if I want to write some Spark code, right, I should be aware of the things that are in the back end, right? So that you can use the proper parameters for the pipeline to be scalable and running in given amount of time and performant. Also, you can address all the quality changes, etc., etc. So you don't need to write any of those applications, but you are aware of it, and accordingly you will do your development, right?
Got it. Yeah. Thanks.
Now observability is now in the era of data engineering as well. If you see, right, a lot of job descriptions, so a lot of words earlier we used to have, they are no more available. Simply they are putting observability patterns or observability pipelines. So this is what I'm talking about: the data quality, governance, sensitive data, making the actual stats of the data. So like this percentage of data is true, authentic, real time. So these numbers, right, will give enthusiasm, and this give the consumers to trust your data, right? Even within an organization, there are, let's say, teams A, B, C. I can ask this question to people who are already engineers, right? Data engineers. So there are couple of teams A, B, C, and there is a table called X. This X table is available in the domain or the jurisdiction of 3 teams. But many people tentatively they go to a particular team only, team B, because they trust the data. We will use the table that is orchestrated or provided by this team, particular team. Why? Because they are putting all these particular stats around it and publishing it to the customers. Our data, the data we publish meets these requirements. These are the stats. You can trust it. We have run these many quality checks. No sensitive data, no real-time customer data is used here, trained for testing, etc. So all this makes your data trustworthy. And people, the turnover ratio, right, it increases. Let's say on an unfortunate day, if people stops using your tables, then definitely there is no need of your team to prepare the data and put it for consumption. Right? Every day we get the stats. If there is the number of active users who are using is stable, right? It's like a reverse tangential, then gone. That product of that particular team itself is a question mark. So wrapping this AI around the observability is this essentially: how to interact with the data that is being consumed or being given as an input to the AI applications. You should be able to query and orchestrate that data. Now. Yeah, you can move on to the next slide. Yeah, I think like pretty much I talked about this. Yeah, so there are some terms, a low latency, right, high scalability. These are all the terms we loosely talk, but just we need to question ourselves, really, did we implement this? If implemented, what are the challenges there and how we come across? These are all the stuff the actual interviewer or the hiring manager is now in current days, like they are interested in. So they are no more like hearing like, I prepared this data mart, no, I queried these many number of records, no, but what went behind? So these many number of records, let's say like 10 million records, you're doing a lookup in less than 2 minutes. Oh, what are the fine-tuning techniques implemented in the Spark code? Or how you orchestrated your Airflow pipeline based on a particular event. Only if that event happens, this load should run. Otherwise, you need to save the time. It's a cost-effective solution. So these are the things the hiring managers or the recruiters, they want to hear from you. We can move on to, like, in the interest of time, right? Because there are 4 killer stuffs I want to present at the end. That is the meat of this session. So. Like this also we talked about. MLOps currently, like I put it in the slide, but not required for the data engineers, right? So career roadmap. So what are the things you need to have? Like we will talk in brief. Maybe 30 to 40 people we have in the meeting session, right? Let's talk about the junior people who are like entry level. So if you are able to write SQL clean code, if you are able to write Python clean code to move the data, transform the data, and work with structured data, that is fine. You are in, but you are at high risk because all this stuff can be automated, simply automated. So I am able to write a query to retrieve some data, or I am able to prepare a query, complex query even, based on some requirements. Then please take it granted that there are tools which can write this with the proper inputs. So you're at high risk. And level 2 mid, you are able to prepare some scalable pipelines, right? You are able to optimize the jobs and all, prepare the end-to-end pipelines. You are safe, but still not strong. You're safe, but not strong. Coming to the A engineer. So this way, you are not simply building the pipelines, but you are having the context around it. That means you are having the architecture flavor. So you will be able to talk at length and in breadth, not just like parallel. So at length and in depth, you are able to talk about the design, why you prepared that code. Is your code scalable? Can you demonstrate that it is scalable? And if yes, why? What are the nitty-gritties there? And in case there is a challenge that is thrown to you, this is the current hiccup we are having in our production systems, how can you work on this? So this, if you are able to address this with the help of the architecture flavor inside you, right? So it is going to make you stronger. Also, all the points that are around the AI, embeddings you call, vector databases you call, or Hugging Face applications, just getting the key. Even if you are able to write some simple code, zero code. Vijendra asked me, is it code intensive? No, you don't need to write huge code. But at least you would be able to understand the low code or zero code based applications, LLM or RAG applications. Simple. One small example is you open AI or ChatGPT and ask some question, right? The same thing, can you do it from your prompt? Just check yourself. Can you do it from your prompt? Provided you have internet, you open your prompt, some .py file you create, do some stuff, and you get the question what exactly you're getting on the actual OpenAI interface. So if you're able to at least meet up to this, right, you're good, you're safe. So by the way, what I'm talking about is the LangChain application. Yeah. Putting some OpenAI, some LLM key and trying to interact with it, get the answers on your screen. So this is what I'm talking about. So if you have these kind of flavors in your profile on top of the processing platform, one cloud, and one orchestration tool, if you have these flavors, then you are like strong. Yeah, I think like so this is all the content I want to talk about, and mostly this content you can find in Google, or you can find it anywhere or any other session. But what is the value added to you by joining or investing 1 hour of time? So I'm now going to take you through the 4 of the killer use cases which I personally implemented, which are there on the white papers you can see, and all these 4 from the 4 big techs. So very worth knowing about that, right? So let me talk about them one by one. No slides actually. Yeah. I mean, I didn't put it intentionally because subjected to authorization, right?
No,
yeah. And a disclaimer: I'm not talking or anything about my actual implementations here. So I'll talk about the design, which anybody can talk, right? Yeah. So let's talk about the first use case, that too for the data engineers. So very common thing, you get a pipeline is failed. Why it failed? There is a log, dedicated log. You need to sit on top of the log and try to understand what is the issue there, analyze it, come up with the RCA, root cause analysis, try to put some fix, test it, put it for approval, and then move it to prod. At least some couple of hours, right? Not days. At least comes for some couple of hours. It can be very small, like there is a column name changed. Earlier it was employee ID, now it is EMP ID. Or a huge thing, the source itself is not available. So any sort of this. So you need to analyze that log, right? What if you have this system, right? Which is, I can call an intelligent system simply. No what to say, no key terms. So in intelligent system, if you have this system inbuilt, what is that system? It will do step 1 to step n. What are the steps? I'll read it for you. There is a failure, right? Immediately it alerts. It performs the RCA. It also suggests you the fix. This is going to be the fix. It writes the code. It deploys the code in a lower environment. It tests it. It shares the results. Only it will wait for your approval. I mean, you are the engineer, right? You are the one to take the call. You go through it. Yes, this looks fine. You have a word with your next level manager or your architect or your lead, some person, get an approval and push it. So definitely all this stuff is done by an agent. So how good it is? So this is intelligent system, and also I want to tell you, this is not some ML engineer or AI engineer is doing it currently. So the data engineers are doing it. They are equipped with this particular stuff, or internet, or they're freely available. Try to explore leverage the resources and try to think in this way. An intelligent system, simple system. So yeah, go ahead. Naveen, again, you are on.
Yeah. So, may I know, like, if you have implemented this kind of system already in your existing
Yes,
project?
yes. That's what, like, when I,
Thanks.
that's yeah, 4 killer stuffs, right? When I say, like, these are all the implemented things, and I'll give the name of the other companies also, and the
Yeah,
name of
great
the
to know.
actual product. Yeah, actual product. So this is just beginning. This is a very small application, And tell me one thing, being a data engineer, how much time it will save for you? A lot of time, right?
Yeah, definitely. Some
Yes.
menial tasks, a lot of
Yes.
time, repetitive
Yeah.
tasks, everything gets eliminated.
Exactly. So now I read out few steps, right? A1 to AN. So like an engineer, an enthusiastic engineer like Naveen, what he will think is, why should I have it for one pipeline, which is frequently failing? He will take a lead for this program. Why can't I build this system, intelligent system, for the entire pipelines you have in your particular module? Definitely not single 10 pipelines, 15 pipelines. So your entire marketing system, let's say you're working for a marketing data engineering team. So it would be really good, right? Which takes care of the failures, analyzes the logs even before you, and predicts, generates you all the information. Only it waits for your approval. So you might be aware of this. I'm sure you heard this time, like agentic AI agent. So the last 5 minutes I'm talking about is the generative AI simply. And when you what do you say, when you compile this into a particular product and give it to your users, right, or implement in your production systems, you are calling it as AI agent, simple. So an intelligent AI agent. So if you say, I have implemented this agent for my pipelines, which can self-heal the failed pipelines or guide your users, the developers, do this, do that, then tell me, would it be going to add some weight to your profile? Not some random stuff you're picking from the internet, or getting your resume written by some AI. No, you have actually implemented, and all the resources are available for free. So try to explore on this particular use case. And this use case is simply an AI agent, creating an AI agent on top of any failed, maybe Airflow you can take for granted, like it's open source, right? You can use that and implement this use case, right? Cool. So this we are calling it as like AI agent. You are creating it. Fine. Now let me talk about the second use case. Okay. What is the second use case we're talking about is many of the data engineers, generally when Vijayendra put it for data engineer side, what is the role, friends? Data engineer is working on everything and anything to prepare some data, get the insights, right? So when I say insights, it's a dashboard, right? The end goal is going to be a dashboard or particular information where the higher leadership takes a call of, right? Attrition, subscription rates, ACV, AOV, all these stuffs we have. It depends on, it changes from industry to industry. Let's say if I talk about Netflix, average watch time, engaging the users, all this stuff. But for all of this thing, right, you need to have some data, and also you have to have some dashboard. Let us say the leadership person, right, he doesn't know how to write a SQL. He doesn't have time to write it. He simply wants to, earlier how it is happening even in the current market, he will raise his concern with one of the PMs, product manager. He comes to your Scrum during your story discussion or backlog refinement grooming. He creates a story in the Jira dashboard. He explains the requirements. Then you go about it, discuss with him, try to identify it's a big stuff, right? Identify the table, what are the columns, writing a query, going. But what if there is a chatbot? I simply, like the way you call, right, Siri, what is the next movie in particular theater? There is a chatbot available and given to your leader. He simply types in, or even he can chat, he can talk. Hey, can you give me in the last 3 quarters, right? How many of my CRM customers have renewed their licenses, or are there any no-show? In the Q1 they have renewed, but Q2, Q3, Q4 they didn't do it, or they didn't purchase some product, or they purchased a product but they are not using particular bundle in that product, which is a loss to me. So all these details he simply just dictates or he puts some text. Immediately what it will do, it will take the test, it will connect with the proper table, writes the query and generates the dashboard also and sends to your email or puts it on the display. And currently it is happening in many of the vendors. Like for example, Tableau, if you consider our own product, we have Tableau Next. If you get a chance, right, try to explore that. So this is what is happening. So simply you can call this as text to SQL, a GenAI application, text to SQL. So simply you talk to it, but you may ask me like, is it going to do it autonomously? No. So that is where the data engineer. So what you are doing is, for this application to perform its duty properly, you have to prepare the backend database in such a way that it will be able to identify the proper database and give the query or prepare the dashboard, right? Subject to testing. Like this is on day one itself, we are not going to put it into production, but you have to work on it, retrain it. The training part and all ML team, they will handle. But the base data is where you are only the owner of the warehouse, right? The sales, marketing, all the user usage details, you are owning it. So this is a good use case. A text to SQL or text to dashboard chatbot. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, please, Lakshman.
So when we are so I'm also building the same thing for my company, wherein my CEO can access a chatbot, ask his natural language analytics question, and my database needs to provide answer to him in natural language. So will we decouple the agent and the database, or we give access of the database data to the agent?
Wonderful question. So this is where I use the word autonomous agents. So you totally decouple it, right? Because a lot of data constraints, security reasons, access issues, GDPR, a lot of things are there. So it is an autonomous agents, and between agents, the learning. So agent learning, this is the term I want to put it for this use case. Machine learning you have, but this is a decoupled agent, two autonomous agents. One agent is working on preparing all the backend data. The other agent is taking the input. So these two agents communicate. This agent is responsible for preparing all the data, and this agent is responsible for fetching the data, querying it, and put it in the end user format, whatever the format is expecting. So yes, it's a decoupling. I mean, you can do, for example, if the data is not sensitive, if the data is internal to a particular team, it's okay. You can use the same agent. You can give access to the database. You can give access to that Tableau dashboard instance, whatnot. But ideally, in like global standard side, we decouple this flow and we have multiple agents. Internally, agents will have the ability to communicate and coordinate.
So just a small extension. So as my CEO asked for data privacy, what I did was, in my plan, I am only using the agent to generate dynamic SQL queries, and I am passing it to the database and fetching the information. The question I have here is, what about how to prevent this SQL injection errors, or the data validation is my first concern. I'm not sure whether it is generating the correct query or not, and also the data cleaning I'm not able to fit in my plan. So should I do the data cleaning inside the databases? Should I let the AI agent handle the data cleaning?
Yes. No. I'll tell you the flow. I mean, probably I may not be explaining the actual solution here, but the way you need to do is, you have your source data, the cleaning, observability. So your observability pipeline, that is the responsibility for that. And on top of this is, you have your cleanup stuff and vector embedding stuff to work on behind the agent. So as soon as the agent is triggered, its responsibility is that. So all this is owned in the data space. And what is the user space? User space is to just connect to it, correct? So the way you can give, like, simply it can provide an SQL. Just to provide an SQL, it doesn't need to like have the access to the actual data. Even the metadata of the table itself is enough to prepare the particular query. But the use case which I'm telling is like 2 steps or 3 steps ahead. It will prepare the dashboard itself. So like you can go to YouTube, or you can go to the white paper of the Salesforce. Tableau Next is one of the scenarios I'm talking about. So it's not simply like converting the user input and preparing a query. It generates a dashboard itself. But what is the design, how we need to create the agent, what is the communication channel, what are the libraries you need to use, that is all like you have to have a actual development session for that.
Also, one more question. I'm working in AI automation space. What more automations related to data engineering highly the companies are sorting?
Did you get it?
Can you repeat again, Lakshman?
Lakshman, sorry, so you want to
am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but we lost that.
So I'm working in AI automation space. So what in data engineering companies? What is a hot thing that companies are looking to automate using AI automations in the field?
Perfect. Yeah, these are all the use cases I'm talking about. The first one is very much like fitting. So if you have this a self-healing agent, so any developer can create that. So that self-healing agent is one of the most sought after tool, because they want to get rid of the simple tasks. Like let me ask you this question. SCD type 2, we started with this question, right? So how much time you will take to generate the type 2 code, a DBT model or a Spark model? So it's less than an hour you can write the code, right? So this kind of automation stuff they are looking at. Intelligent systems which work on preparing the code for you, test for you, analyze the logs, suggest you the data quality checks. For example, many times we go with the data quality checks like unique, not null, but you won't understand like, is there any additional data quality check I can think of which can really impact your sales, or which is like really impressive. Or a particular day, someday on the weekend, the sales totally go down. Immediately, the tendency of the data engineer is to like, I will go and put a data quality check wherein the volume of the data reduces to this percentage. It sends an alert. Fine, sending an alert is fine, but what is it adding to the company? But if you automate this using the agentic AI framework, if you automate this, it will be able to generate the insights. This is the reason for the 50% or n percentage dip in the sales over the weekend. Maybe there is a flaw. Go and check or go and talk to that particular source team where the data. So this is the place, or this is the challenging part you can automate, so that it will reduce all the roundabout time for a developer to do the RCA. All the information it will give it to you. So on behalf of you. So simply follow its lines and talk. Yeah, we can. Yeah, this is, I mean, I cannot go in depth for this use case, but yeah, intelligent systems is like many of the regimes or many of the companies they're implementing. Every data engineering team, right? They're trying to have one intelligent system for their for the pipeline health. Similarly, I may not be able to cover all the 4, but one last thing I want to cover to the people who are in FinOps. FinOps is one of the very sensitive, right? Financial data. And highly paid data engineers you can find there, like Fidelity, big companies. The problem the data engineers they face is they do not have access to production data because sensitive. But how can you write your code and how can you test it? The very own example, the not near real time, very pressing thing, the credit card fraud. So you swipe your card, there is some fraud happen, immediately it should alert. So I will write a PubSub model. My consumer, the Spark consumer, like not the Spark one, this one, the Kafka. So you get an event in the queue, processing it. No, it has to happen at the real time, not even near real time. So I mean, even if you want to have the systems deployed into production, you have to test it, right? You ask your manager, can I take the production data user base from the user base? Definitely a big no. You should not do it, otherwise you will be fired. So there is a use case of this invented, and it is implemented in JP Morgan. You can Capital One is also. So you can use that. The name of this one is GAN. You can just search for it for the white papers and all. So what it will do is it will create a synthetic data set. You might be hearing this particular term for the first time. So it creates a synthetic data set. It will contain 0% of the user information, but it will mimic the real production data. So it is very useful. You can generate it like gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes also you can generate the data, so that you can use the data and test your Spark job. or test your entire pipeline ecosystem, whether it is able to identify that fraud and that event is triggering and immediately it is passed to your message queue and alert is being received in the email or whatever the mode, SMS, etc. So this is one of the beautiful use case, which is called synthetic data generation for testing. And it is implemented. The white papers are available for JP Morgan Chase and Capital One. You can find them online for free. I think we're above board of the time. Yeah. Hope I mean, I added some value to this session, but yeah.
Definitely, Jaram. So I think we have a couple of questions in the chat. Why don't we just address them and then?
Yes, sure.
The questions. Yeah. I think Chandra is.
Hey, Chandra.
Yeah. So I think he has some questions. You want to take them?
Yes. It's like I'm reading the question.
I would make that easy for you, Sitaram, and
yeah.
The situation is that, for example, I am into telecom space. I would say deep telecom space, and one of the mandates I would think for the upcoming generation, which is 6G, is that the decisions which are made. So, for example, any decision which was made based on some configuration, some table, those decisions have to be made in an artificially intelligent manner. I would say automated manner.
Yes, exactly. Self-efficient.
Because what happens that when you make decisions from configurations, obviously they are static, inefficient to say the least, and tables. So you have, let's say, connectivity table. You have tables which are connecting multiple services together and all that. So I'll give you a very simple use case, right? So what I do these days is at 9 p.m. I switch off my phone. Now I go for a walk or whatever, right? But I have a special telecom application with me, which we are piloting internally in Nokia. So that guy has to still page me using the telecom towers, but they do not know what my location is. So in the course of time, the paging has stopped. Now slowly, when this application started learning that what is this user's behavior, where he might be at this point in time, should I send him a message or should I ring him or should I give him a trigger? Depending on how well he will take it and how well he can respond to it, they are now able to locate me. So, for example, he's able to page me to a nearby temple, thinking that mostly he's here, right? And things like that. So these are some integrate and very new use cases which are coming up. But my question to you is a little bit on the high level. So AI in telecom has been over the top. So you have you have applications, you have everything, whatever we have right now. Then I somehow artificially or inorganically put that AI layer on the top and try to do analytics. I try to do user behavior, mobility, and all that. But in the internal deep tech of 6G, this was not being used. We are trying to do that now. Human mind is a fertile mind, and it would think about possibilities when it is at least some way skilled or some way educated to think in a different manner. So my question to this forum was, or to both of you was, that what kind of training should I provide to my engineers? I'm talking about 2,000 engineers. Right? And then I have about million Jira tickets. Jira ticket is like ServiceNow ticket, some ticketing system you think. So somebody filed a bug in 2006, and then there was a log collection, people talking to each other. Then there was a resolution. Sometimes the resolution was right, sometimes the resolution was fixed on fixed problem. So I have about million Jira tickets right now. What I want to do is I want to use the data which is available in good or bad form, I do not know, to be able to make judgments or at least give some kind of debugging guidance to a problem that happens today.
Yes,
right?
why not?
So
what kind of... Go ahead.
And that is why that PDF question came from me. Okay. So how do I use an architect this data, which is for 20 years, Jira tickets, is still happening. And that data is authentic. That data is not coming from Airtel or Verizon or something. It is internal Nokia data, which we have struggled and understood in a hard way for last 20 years. What should I do such that I can do a preventive monitoring of the system and also do an RCA once the fall has already occurred in the system? So for this, question is threefold. How do I know the quality of my data? How do I make it better? How do I upskill my engineers, which is of the order of 2,000 people, right? What should I tell them to study? How should I educate them such that they think in this manner, right? And then, yeah, so basically these three. Yeah.
Get it. Clear use case, and I think many of the organizations are on this and reaching out to Vijayendra. So the second point Vijayendra can answer, like what are the trainings that the engineers need? But the first one is the observability pipeline, which I talked about, data observability, which takes care of all of this. But again, who are going to build this? The engineers, but they're trained enough, self-efficient enough, or sufficient enough to build the pipelines. So which will talk about or presenting the authenticity or trust of the data sets we have any number of years. And on the third point is about converting that to insights. Again, converting your data based on the inputs or suggestions that are taken is in autonomous agent you can build. The use case which I talked about, intelligent system, right? So that is how you can automate in the best possible way. Talking about the use case which we implemented, I think it is on forum, right? So we use Gus, not Jira. So similar question. So every quarter, let's say not a big one like 20 years, every quarter, right? We analyze this, the agent, what it will do, how many teams are there, where is the burnout happening more, like where are the engineers having less number of stories, where are the vendors occupying more cut of the dollar. So all this information, right? It is currently being done by an agent, which will go through the Gus board. Gus essentially is nothing but Jira for Salesforce. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is all done by
the. I think my basic thing would be to figure out what kind of the T thing you showed, right? That you should have this basic and then
depending
on what you like.
Yeah.
So what part of that T I have? Yeah. So what
deep in data engineering? Go ahead. What part of T?
So what if the T that I have to take for me, and what blueprint I have to propose to my CEO and then or CTO, and then look at it having like a basic training which is to be done for everybody like that. And once that is done, I think the mindset change will also occur. 6G is coming in 2030, and we have to be very much ready that for every fault we do not the same game does not occur. Send me the logs, then the guy will sleep. Then okay, I'm waiting for this information. That information will come. It will, and then the fault resolution time is about a week. Yes. I want the fault resolution time to be of the order of, let's say, a day, such that I can move the user from, let's say, one system to another. We have redundant system, such that we can, and we are able to use that. So if I keep a system at bay for 7 days because it is faulty, that's a huge loss of money. So we want to have that fixed soon, and then the high availability and continuity should look like a 5.9 system. It should not look like a system which is just doing everything out of its redundancy and not out of its efficiency. Yeah, okay. So I need some help and guidance on this. I have to tell you, I'm very basic on the AI systems. Very, very basic. I am ashamed to say, but the reality is that I know very little. What I have done is autonomous network, and that has been done using small language models, and where I instead of the tables and configuration, we used small language models to infer the location, infer the placement of the CDN. CDN, you know very well. So we have to know where to place UPF, where to give more capacity, where to steer traffic. So those we have done. And right now, I would say my quality would be at the bay of about 40-45%. I would like to go to 99%. And so everything is like really mingled now. People have less skills. People don't think in that way. People think over the top. I don't want over the top. I want native. I want native.
Correct. So yeah, thanks, Chandrasekhar, for your question, and thanks, Sitaram, for that. So we'll take one more question from Naveen, and maybe we'll close the call. Naveen, you have something to ask? Naveen Mova. Okay, if Naveen is not there, we'll take it from Gokul's question. I see my organization using Snowflake and Databricks, both.
Having compute as well as storage.
Aren't both having compute as well as storage? Where do they differ? Snowflake and Databricks, right? Yeah. So I think the question is more to do with why do they have both, right?
Yeah. Both are computing engines. That's what we will. Yes. So
Why
I will give you. I will give an example. Like instead of an answer, I will give an example. So let's say I hope Gokul you are aware of DBT, right? So I write a code in DBT, and my target database is Cosmos DB, let's say. And there is another DBT model. The target database is Snowflake. So when you write the code and execute, where do you think it gets processed or compute? So not audible there. My bad. Yeah. Now is it audible now? Yes. Yeah. Hey Gokul. So sorry, I talked about a good use case. Okay. Let's say we are writing DBT model and targeting to pointing to Snowflake. Where is the compute happening? Is it going to happen in DBT?
Yeah, it's not using DBT.
Or it is going to happen in Snowflake?
He is not using DBT, so it's not aware. Put a message.
No, not in these. Okay, let's go back. As you put a Databricks, right? Let's say Databricks, you are writing your Spark code, right? Data frame, Spark.SQL query. I think at least you are ever. You are doing it in your current role. So when you do this, right, Spark.SQL, where is the compute happening? Is it happening in Databricks itself, or is it happening anywhere outside? It happens in Databricks. So there the compute is happening. And you see Snowflake is also they are using. So what is the difference? That is essentially your question. Snowflake also, it will do the compute. It will do the compute for the analytical loads that it is given. But when a user queries Snowflake, right, it runs the storage, it takes the storage from it and computes it on the canvas. But if a person is writing the query from Databricks to Snowflake, right, it definitely is meaningless because the compute or the data is sitting in Snowflake. And mostly I think this people won't do in the real-time use case. Databricks, you are interacting with a table that is a Hive table, a partitioning table, right, which is in your cloud, wherever it is pointed to. So if you are interacting with a Snowflake table, probably there is one chance for that. The data that your organization is interacting with Snowflake via Databricks is a migrated data. They want to take the leverage of a zero copy. They don't want to clone it, the storage again, so that they are using it. So this is the only thing or only pressing need for them to do it. But otherwise, it's a bad collocation.
Okay.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, Gokul, audible.
Yeah. So actually, currently, we're using both just to support the end users. So our end users are both there on.
So no. What I'm talking about is the data that is lying or sitting in Snowflake is more important for them, and they don't want to bring it to your Hive tables. So they don't want your Spark clusters to process the data.
Okay, but then on what basis? I'm not really able to appreciate the difference between Snowflake and Databricks. On what basis do they choose one from the other? Both have compute, both have storage, both can process the data end to end, right? So what really differentiates it?
And that's where I use I put this DBT stack in front. So Snowflake is really useful when you don't want to pay. You don't want to have n number of processing things. You want to have the storage and compute at same place, but you can write all the code like a Git from an external utility. DBT is simply utility. So you can write the code there, and your actual implementation execution storage happens in Snowflake. So that is the standard use case for Snowflake, considering it as a cloud data warehouse. But if you are using it for all the Spark loads, right, then it's a question to the very architecture. Okay. So you use Spark clusters to interact with the data that is partitioned, stored inside your cloud, which is processed using the Spark, right? So yeah. Simple. I mean,
we primarily process the data in Databricks as such, and we just move the data to Snowflakes for the end user.
Yeah, yes, there could be one reason, because in Databricks, right, if the user wants to really interact, he can use Elation, because it's a partitioned, it needs to run in the driver client model. But if you put it in Snowflake, right, it is totally abstracted. The end user can feel as if he is simply running the query in the good old SQL style, the SQL Server thing. So yeah, it could be one of the things, but definitely it's a bad design. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one last question. Actually, like I joined a bit late. Like in the beginning, you were telling about the two types of storage, right? Like you showed the slide.
Two streams actually, embedding and vector. Embedding,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead. Yes, these are the two.
No.
things.
I was
Embedding,
just asking. I missed that, so I was just asking you to just create.
Embedding and vectorization. Embedding is simply like how you want to store the data, and vectorization is essentially comes on like when you are retrieving the data.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll take the last question from Naveen. Naveen, are you still around?
Naveen.
Naveen Mova. I think he raised his question again, but if he's dropped out, then
Yeah, I'm still there, but
yeah.
No, I don't have any questions. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It's good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, great. Okay, folks,
But
thanks.
Talking about the training, Chandra asked you, what are the trainings he wants to offer for his students?
Yeah, so again, way I look at it, Chandra, again, from what I see in the industry today, right? So data engineers are part of one of these several, the entire AI stack, right? Data engineers, you have data analysts, AI engineers, and then data scientists, right? And ML engineers, and then ML ops, right? So each particular role requires a particular skill set, correct? So if you see the AI engineer part of it, right, I think what you're looking for is someone who can build applications, understand the entire tech stack, right? So today, if I look at it broadly, there are 4 pillars in AI. One is again classic ML, and then is you have neural networks and in the model development and that part of it. Then you have agents, and the fourth one is RAG, right? So pretty much everything else fits into one of these, right? So of course, you have the data part, which is more like a horizontal, right? Which is across all of these, right? Now, if you want to build agents, you need data. If you want to build RAG, you need data. And I think some of what Sitaram has talked about is coming in the RAG part of it, right? Where you create embeddings and store into a vector database and all that stuff, which is a sign of what's coming up new, correct? But again, none of this is standalone. None of it is a silo. If you want to be in the AI era, you have to be relevant. Today, people are expecting you to understand. You may be a hardcore data engineer, but like I think Sitaram mentioned, you need to understand how the upstream is working, right? You may not be the one who's deciding what embedding model to use. You may not be the one deciding what vector database to use, but you should have a good appreciation of what are the dimensions of the vector data. What is the chunk size, right? If I'm getting context, what is the size of this context that's coming in, right? So, and what kind of data can be actually ingested? So if given a PDF, I think he said using a PDF, but what if the PDF has images? What if the PDF has tables, right? How are you going to ingest it, right? Now, today, based on what I see, people expect you to know a lot of stuff. The lines are not exactly clearly delineated like earlier they used to be for front end and back end. It's more like, you need to have a good knowledge of a lot of areas and be able to contribute in a variety of areas. But having said that, again, data engineering, as far as I can see, is a specialized field where you are expected to build pipelines, have a solid understanding of SQL and Tableau and visualization, all the other stuff, correct? So AI engineers, again, that's pretty much, the broad line of understanding how to build agents, understanding RAG, and using, your skills in neural networks and deep learning and models to kind of orchestrate the development of all that, right? So that's how I see, and building projects and doing the real stuff is the right way to get going, guys. That's what is my understanding, right? I've seen people who say they understand agents, they understand RAG, but when I ask them to actually build it, then they struggle, right? They don't understand what is fast API, where is fast API coming into this, because nobody talks about it, right? So they don't understand that an agent by itself cannot work, right? You need fast API to send a request to it, get a response. How do you integrate it? How do you connect the dots? How do you connect MCP and all, right? So you need to build those applications, and I think that's the way to learn, and that's the way to master that, right? So I'll tell you a simple example. I'll just spend a minute more. So recently we started, so I have my program. I'll just talk about it for a minute. So just FYI, again, it gives you the context of where I'm coming from, right? So if you can see my screen, right? So I run Analysts, right? In Analysts, we have this training program which I conduct, right? So we basically, a cohort program, we make them run through all these projects, right? So right now we're working on this project here for building a WhatsApp chatbot, correct, for Indian farmers using MCP, right? So I told the concept about land graph agents, MCP. I told so much of detail in depth in theory, but deep down when we say, can you connect a cloud desktop to the MCP server, then people struggle all over the place, correct? Simply because they don't understand where is that MCP really running, right? Is it running on the client side? Is it running on the server side? Where is it running, right? So these are the small things that you will understand only when you start actually coding it. Then you will figure out, oh my God, are you really running on the client side? So the MCP client actually spawns the process, and then the server, MCP server as a process, and then executes it, right? So these are small things that people should will learn when they actually implement it, right? You'll understand what is the gaps and all, correct? So this is a program which I have for anyone who is interested in.
Can you show that screen once again, please? Your program.
Or want to understand the AI stack, correct? So I put the link here. So it's pretty reasonable for those who want to work on this. So in fact, at 12:45 we are connecting. We are going to build. So every Saturday we develop what we learn during the weekdays. Okay. You can see that I have this program which I conduct a live session every day, 7 to 8 p.m. and I teach the stuff for one project. So we covered one project in 2 weeks. So the goal is simple: no jazz, no nonsense. We only cover what is needed to finish a project, right? And this is the second week for this project for WhatsApp chatbot for Indian farmers using MCP. It's an agentic AI application. We'll use MCP and connect through WhatsApp with RAG to enable farmers to go to query for pests and disease and agriculture schemes. Correct. So that's what we're building. And today, showdown time. Every Saturday we sit together as a entire cohort sits and we all code together. Okay. So if some of you are interested, let me know. You can join along with us today. That's up to you. But that's the long and short of where I see this kind of an approach really helping people, right? So I've seen some people. So recently we helped a military cadet. His name is Vishal, right? So Vishal Pond, right? You might have seen my LinkedIn. He came from Indian Army, and for some reason he came out of it, and he was not, his resume was not getting shortlisted. So very simple, he just worked on some of this, this fine tuning and all. He did hardcore stuff, and that's a skill that not many people have today, right? So this project was really what he really considered, and it helped him get a job there, right? So this is another project we're working on, and what is the next project for Monday, right? So we cover this 6 projects in a rotation basis, so you can join anytime. Okay. So if you're interested in learning more, you can book a discovery call. Okay, I have it here, or you can process the payment as well, up to you. But once you join my cohort, I make sure that every 2 weeks you're finishing one project and you have a presentation on your GitHub, right? So all this code gets into GitHub. You can also showcase it for your interviews or whatever. Okay. So that's what it is about. And so again, just to let you know, if some of you are interested, you just write an email to support@analysts.com. You can just experience our project, what we do, how we build it. So we build it from scratch up. We distribute the tasks out. Everybody builds. Somebody builds an agent. Somebody builds MCP. Somebody builds RAG. So we have 2 RAG tools, and then somebody builds just API.
Can I ask a question?
The whole thing out. Observability as well, right? We need to measure, because if you want to launch it,
am I audible?
It's important to measure, right? So that's it. Huh? Yeah, Chandra, you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to interject in between. So it looks nice to me, quite enchanting, but I will tell you.
Yeah, I think you're on mute.
I'm not on mute.
Okay, sorry, I can hear now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was not on mute. So what I was trying to know from you, that the thing that you show here, my tasks, are these my projects or what it is?
Are you talking of these, the one here?
Yeah, green ones,
So
mark complete and all.
These are all the ones here? Yeah, these are all projects, right? So we have these projects. So under this project, whatever is in scope, I teach for 2 weeks, right? Live session. And then whatever is from the basics, right? So what are the various agentic frameworks, land graph, we start building small stuff. And then we today is Saturday showdown, right? The entire team sits together and builds it from scratch up, right? And we sit from 12 to 6, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., but we are running a bit late today. We'll connect at 12:45. Okay. And every project is supposed to cover a different aspect. Like if you see this real-time fraud detection, it's supposed to be on data ingestion, time series, right? Real-time, I think most of what Sitaram has talked about, near real-time and real-time stuff, right? Anomaly detection. So every project is built in with an intent. Like this is about NER, right? So this is customer support, right? How do you handle requests in real-time at scale, right? This was about e-commerce, so that you have that flavor. Yeah. So yeah. So I also cover neural networks. So all the this is fine tuning and building LLM from scratch. So I cover the entire gamut of things.
So Vijender, I think I was able to convey my problem and idea, and I understand probably your solution is that join, do something hands-on, and then you will be able to fit the pieces of puzzle in your brain, and then you do multiple of these kinds, and then you grow bottom up. Okay, that is very good. That is very good. But look at me, right? Nokia 2000 engineers. What would I say to my CEO that I want all of them to join this project?
No. So it's not how it is. So I do corporate training, Chandra, right? So we tailor make it. For example, we did for Inspire Brands, the company which managed Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins, and also recently we did a small program for them. And we tailor make it based on what you need, because see, it's a gamut of stuff, right? Now in my program, I call these.
Vijender, the problem that I'm trying to discuss. See, I don't want to take everybody's time, but you would know that in the space of this tech world right now, there are people who had been, you would say, legacy technocrats, and the problem is that some of them, we don't even know what we don't know. You got my point?
Yeah.
So that blind spot detection is the first thing.
Yeah.
So some kind of even knowing some kind of definitions, fundamentals would be good for guys who have never been exposed to this. When you say AI stack, that it sparks the thing in my mind.
Yeah. So the point is, yeah. So Chandra, there are a couple of things here. One is knowing the landscape and the jargon and being able to connect the dots. That's one. Second thing is being able to actually connect the dots and solve a problem, right?
Yes.
So these are things which are equally important, right? So not every time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
if I have to do for myself, do for myself, I would probably take a risk and say that, okay, let me join this course, work for a week, and then maybe I know something at the end of the week or 2 weeks, right? So that might be this thing. But when you are talking about a lot of people doing it, solving a common problem, which I have tried to inscribe in the chat today, or I also when I asked the question. So for that, I think somebody has to propose that what is that you would need to know, like a basic course in this technology space, basic course, such that you know what you should be able to identify what you don't know right now.
So I think Chandra, sorry to interrupt. I think in the interest of time, so let's do an offline connect. I can reach out to you. So let's do an offline connect and have a detailed debate, right, in terms of how we can get this going. So again, for the general folks again who've joined in, again, I probably will just conclude the session, right? So again, just wanted to thank everyone for joining in, right? And I would like to thank Sitaram most importantly for taking out his time. So if you can just reach out to support@analysts.com, right? I put in my email. If you folks have any questions, I'll route it to Sitaram. Okay, and maybe we'll see if we need another session follow-up. We could do it, right? So thanks everyone, and thanks for joining in, and have a great weekend. So again, if you still have any questions, please write out an email, and we can get back. Okay. Anything else, anyone? So I'll send out a feedback form on Luma. So I would request you to submit your feedback and share your ideas, if any. Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Any questions?
No
So
questions from my side.
I need more details regarding the course.
Yes, please. Yeah.